What's up, C.
What's up, bro? How you doing?
Always glad to see your face,
Look here,
man.
I'm hey bro, same here, man. Like if my granddaddy said, long as I'm vertical, I'm good.
Vertical. I know that's right. Let's get how we gonna do this now. Shit. I can't hear you, D.
Yeah, but do you know me? Do you know me?
I think she's frozen.
No, I'm not frozen. I just someone has their audio on and I can hear.
Not me.
It's saying like, do you know me? So if you're hearing that, make sure that we don't hear any audio from Prince. Only that you can hear it. All right. I think we're good now. Let's see. All right. So we've done this a couple of times before, again with Graffiti Bridge and with the Dirty Mind Live Rich show. So we're just a little rusty. So give us a second. But I do want to give a shout out to Daryl Hollins, who was the first in the chat with "Boy, we're getting ready to be funkier than a sack of granddaddies." I love that. So thank you so much. And let's see, we got Darlene Nisi in the house, which is the whole reason why I'm actually doing this, because Darlene Nisi said that we should do a watch party. So you want to thank Darlene Nisi for this. And also
joining us.
Yes, I know. But I mean, Kanisa, you're welcome to join us, but she's already done double duty and I couldn't bear to ask her to come on for a third time today. So I didn't ask. Not because I didn't want to. And also, Kanisa, I just have to say that I've never experienced FOMO in my life, but I did when you started talking about your sound bar on Twitter. And so I had to be like Kanisa, and I got me one just like you. So that's the only time in my life I've actually had some FOMO, and I had to rectify that. So thank you so much, Kanisa, because this sounds amazing. So thank you for that tip and for pushing us to up our sound system game for this show. So what we're about to do, everybody's ready. I see ready in here. Ready. I see ready. I love this, Stephanie. Thank you so much. Oh my God. We got Big Sexy is in the house. That's what I'm talking about. So Big Sexy knows, I can't imagine what sound system Big Sexy is about to watch this on. So fill us in on what your system's like so we can level up when we get the cash. Because it's gonna, Big Sexy is in a different league than all of us when it comes to the audio game. All right, so what we're about to do, and I'm actually gonna go off the screen because I just want to hear Jason Orr, who's one of my longest and deepest friends. I love Jason so much. I'm so excited that he's able to do this with us because I know he's extremely busy. So thank you, Jason. I just got to say thank you, thank you, thank you. And then having Jason with Celie. Oh my goodness. So, I mean, you can't even compare to that. But then you, on top of that, you got Nicolay. What? Oh my God. And then you got my triplet, Camila. So I am so excited to hear what you guys got to say about this show. This is the show, Glam Slam 92. We are about to watch it. So I am going to do a countdown. I'm going to do a test countdown. This isn't the real countdown. Just so you know, just to, you know, let you guys know what's going to go on. And I'm going to go slow. I'm going to go like 1, 2, 3, play. And when I say play, we're going to hit play.
At 0.
Yeah.
All right, let's get it.
All right. So are you guys ready out there?
Well, no, we need a disclaimer now. This is funk. This is funk.
Wait, is this the test of the real thing, D'Angela?
We're about to do the real thing.
Okay, got it.
I look, D, you know me. I got to put this disclaimer out there. You know, this is the funk now. We're going to see funk faces. You know, it's going to be, you know, from the musicians and stuff. It's funny on Zoom, but I know I might do it. So let's crank it up like that. See, funk, shit just falling out your ear. Let's just switch this off right now. Like we
All
finna
right.
listen to some funk. Like we want to listen to it deeply.
All right. Okay. So
Let's do it.
So the main thing is we can't have the audio coming through the stream. So just make sure. So if that happens, we might have a false start and we have to start again. But hopefully I won't have to do that. All right. So here we go. But everybody wants to know what Big Sexy is sipping on. But we're gonna get started. You guys ready? All right. 1, 2, 3, play.
From the vault. There we go.
I love that. That's awesome. For anybody that
Look at them VHS, boy.
That's right.
Matter of fact, if you ain't never had no VHS, don't even talk to me. I mean, if you ain't never had one.
Facts. Big facts.
All-inclusive space, Ely. We got to have the children here who don't know what a VHS is.
Oh, then we gotta let the children in?
Yes. They're the
They'll look
But
at
they ain't
it,
never had.
be like,
I believe the children.
what's that?
No. VC Aura. A VC Aura.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, 11.
I love that too. From running an establishment, you need that clock on the side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let Mug know, like, hey, your time is up. And for him, I'm sure he just wanted to know, how things are pacing out with such a vast catalog of music.
But also, he won't pay that fine.
Look at
Let's
that.
be real clear.
You saw that? That's that fine.
Yeah.
You got to pay at a certain time. How about at Wolf Creek? I used to be the one to pull the button. Like, ha! He didn't want to face it.
There we go. All right. Belly dancers galore.
So I just want to say here in terms of Prince dancers, I always felt like this is where Maite really shined with Prince, and thinking about this being her first real performance with him, you definitely see her as a professional that at 6, I mean, she's a child here. I mean, most places she can't drive, she can't vote yet, or she could probably drive, but can't vote or rent a car. And she comes out here and she's great here. And I think this and ballet, those were the two modes of dance where she really shined with Prince. The other stuff was a big no for me with Maite, but I'm thankful she was kind of one and done, an introduction of what was coming. I'm also thankful there's no Diamond and Pearl here, because the difference for me between this show and Earl's Court is that it just got a little bit too busy with Earl's Court. There was too much going on. And so this was good. Hi, Maite. Nice introduction. I get off the stage and let Prince and the boys handle their business. Yeah. But she's great here. I thought she worked really well with the song.
Tell us how you really feel.
I like it though. Hey, D, is the audio down real for a reason? I can't hear it really. Can y'all hear it?
DIY, Jason.
Yeah, we can't hear it. Well, no, we're not supposed to hear it.
I'm not supposed to hear it because I can't.
I was so looking forward to be like,
No,
DIY.
This is a DIY screening.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I'm slow, y'all. I'm slow.
Quickly?
I know y'all smart people been over here getting it in. I'm slow. I'm over here like, wait a minute now, I can't hear the phone.
I want to add. I'm gonna add one thing quickly while Thunder is playing. Mm-hmm. And what's really brilliant about Thunder, if you think about Prince's tours from Controversy to Thunder, think about how each one of them opened. And each tour opened with a song that presented a social political problem and a spiritual solution. Controversy opens with The Second Coming. 1999 opens with Controversy. Purple Rain opens with Let's Go Crazy. The Parade tour opens with Christopher Tracy's Parade. Sign of the Times opens, of course, with Sign of the Times. The New tour opens with The Future. And then, of course, we get the Diamonds and Pearls with Thunder. Each one of those shows opens with a song that is giving you a social political problem and a spiritual solution. That's why Thunder was so perfect in opening, because it continued Prince's theme narrative of his kind of Black liberation theology, that for him, the physical problems of mankind are really based in spiritual iniquities. I just wanted to say that while Thunder was on.
Beautiful.
That's excellent. That's why Sydney is on the building.
Yellow cloud guitar is my favorite iteration of the cloud
Now
guitar.
let's get to the funk.
It's beautiful, Nicola. And it's funny when someone was mentioning it being at the museum and thinking about having recently watched that Milli Vanilli documentary and how they were focused, obviously more so the music, on iconography and a silhouette, and thinking about for Prince how different eras have different silhouettes. And so he's really establishing this silhouette and the things that kind of go along with it, the ephemera, the yellow cloud guitar that's in this time and this time only, and these different aspects, the do-rag, on his head, and certain aspects of his own legend that are specific to a period. And yes, the yellow is everything.
Yeah, it's a beautiful color. The black one for Act 2 is another favorite, but this is the one.
Act 2 was my favorite tour. I think I shared before that I didn't go to prom. My sister and I, Cabria, our friends were shopping for their prom outfits, and we were shopping for our outfits for our first Prince concert. And I didn't see the yellow cloud guitar. I think at the Chicago Theater, it was the black one, because Act 2 was the first tour. So I liked that. That was a good addition.
And as we get into Daddy Pop, what I do want to say is I'm glad somebody mentioned the Love Sexy tour, because I did forget it. The only difference with the Love Sexy tour is that the Love Sexy tour opens with the physical iniquity and closes with the spiritual enlightenment. So the Love Sexy show is the entire narrative that Prince is doing with those opening songs. So I appreciate somebody mentioning the Love Sexy tour, but the only difference is that you get the physical iniquity for the first hour and you get the spiritual enlightenment the second hour. Now let's talk about this Daddy Pop funk.
So can I pop in right here on Daddy Pop? And I promise I'm going to shut up and not talk all the time. But I definitely, this is something I wanted to say, and I can't remember if it was in the podcast or the essay, but to white writers everywhere, can we stop referring to the Game Boys and Cat as foils with Prince? I've always found it offensive that these Black dancers are described as foils, because I don't see them as contrast to Prince in any way. You see him with these brothers, and he's in a dance troupe. This is Prince, the athlete, the dancer. Thank you, Miss TC. I'm following your lead. But we see Prince in this space. He's an athlete. This is Prince at his most athletic as a dancer. He's moved away from the spectacle of having to do everything and recall James Brown for like Purple Rain, because he had people who really couldn't dance. Like, we see him with these brothers working hard. As Harold Pride, my brother and Prince said, these brothers were waiting 7 years for this opportunity, and they nailed it, and they pushed Prince. And I don't see contrast. I don't see foils. I see an extension of who Prince is. And that was difficult for people to see, these Black bodies in motion that have always been controversial. So seeing him with Cat was difficult for people who, as again, Harold said, and I agree, Cat was really his only true dance partner. Here he's in a dance troupe with these brothers. And I've never seen Maite or Diamond and Pearl or Wendy or whoever described as a foil. So can we just bury calling these people a foil? And now I'm gonna shut up and listen to Rosie blow.
Go, Camilla, go. That's the real deal right there.
It's hard to dislike Daddy Pop like this, right? Is it? Like, as much as I don't really care for it, like on record, like it's hard to hate on it. Like it's
such a throwback to Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself, where he's throwing the names of the songs on the album into the song. I think of Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself, and he's like, dance to the music all day long. Every day people sing a simple song, and he's sly is shouting out the names of the songs on that album. And Prince does that with Daddy Pop. So I've always loved the song. But I love this album in real time, and even more now. And look at Rosie. Rosie is like, I am not sitting in anybody's corner. I am up here right alongside my boy in this beautiful outfit. Rhonda, thank you. Rosie's not in a button-up and leggings. She looks beautiful. Hey, D'Angela. I'm so busy looking at them, I didn't see you. You're muted.
Yeah, I can hear a little audio, and somebody bring it down of the show?
Can you hear it?
I think it's good now. Yep.
Okay, that's probably me.
I just don't want the Prince piece to, you know how that goes.
Shout out to Tommy Barbarella, by the way. Looking finer than Frog Air over here.
Yo.
The long hair.
Looking like Mickey Free. Who that new girl in the group?
There's a lot of people on stage, man. Like it's what, 15 people?
And it's
Incredible.
a very small stage, and they're getting a lot of work done in a very small space.
Yeah.
And I love
Ones in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even he tried to fit a symbol on the ground, the early iteration of that symbol, of his symbol. You know what I mean? It's on the ground. And if you remember on the Rave 2000, he had a carpet down that he had to move. So I always looked at this like real carefully, like, what is that? You know, what makes it stick to the floor? The production guy, I mean. But he's, as you can see, he's cramming a lot there. You know, later on, he would, even in the lighting, he would use like the light symbol, you know, the symbol, and it carried most of the show as opposed to a whole track of lights. You know, this was a big change for your boy. You know, he production wise.
No doubt.
Go see Lee.
And you know, one of the things that also I think people forget, and I know it's a different type of dance, but if you even go back to the Dirty Mind tour, the band had moves. Like that was the 1999 is choreographed, right? So I think this whole notion of Prince dancing in sync with people as being something new. No, this was Prince was right out of the old school R&B review, where the whole band moved. I think that is the difference that people, you know, and I always say this about bootlegs. You know why, for those of you who want to know why a lot of Prince bootlegs are so bad, the reason a lot of Prince's bootlegs are so bad is because they're usually filmed by guys who are only used to filming rock and roll people who don't move.
That's right. That's right.
And so because these bootleggers are not used to filming people who move, and Prince has always moved. So this whole notion that he just started dancing with the Game Boys, not really true.
Right.
Yeah, right.
I think it's the blackness.
Oh, definitely.
It was just like my sister said, people only could take the larger audience so much blackness with their Prince. And this was just like, where did all these black folks come from? And a lot of people felt like he was just chasing a trend. And that's why I love Andrea's work specifically with this box set to say, no, this is who Prince was. This is what he came from. He wasn't like, oh, Hammer, let me go run and get some boys. You know, I'm Heavy D and the boys. It was like, no, these brothers have been around since Purple Rain. You all didn't notice them, you know, connected to me publicly, but even going back farther to the Way and Phyllis Wheatley in North Minneapolis.
And can we give them credit that their dance routines never repeated? Like they had a new routine for every song. Now, you got to give them credit for the work.
It was work, man. It was work. I mean, you tried yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
At that pace, you know, that they were doing it at. And you remember that they tell that story of when they got in the little circle for Kiss to do the roundabout thing, and Prince asked him like, "Y'all tired?" You know, he was trying to tell them to pace your energy out.
Right.
Right. It's like, you tired yet? You know, that's a real thing, man. Those guys were committing to the dance moves. You know what I mean? Every time, and it was something different. And they had to make up stuff and remember them. Jazz, you know, it's pretty much jazz at the same time.
Right.
So we are at Diamonds and Pearls now, and
one of the prettiest songs ever.
Yes, indeed.
Ever. It's a one of one.
Gorgeous.
Anything sound like Diamonds and Pearls?
Not that I've heard of.
How about you, Nicolay? You heard anything?
No. Definitely not that melodic and that, no.
Camilla, you heard anything sound like Diamonds and Pearls?
No. And you know what's amazing? When I was looking at, and I appreciated Tanya's research earlier, when I was looking at the songs that were like number one in 91, and there were kind of the bigger ballads that were popular, but none of them sounded like Diamonds and Pearls. And that's one of the greatest things about Prince, was just that, you know, this is not, I'll deliver a hit, but I'm going to deliver you a Prince hit. I'm
like
not, you know, I can play with all these different forms out here, but best believe this is going to sound like me.
And the arrangement here, like on the tour later, is incredible. Like it really, they take it up a notch from the recording. Yeah. And Rosie just like the duet part of between him and Rosie and towards the crescendo, the big climax is absolutely stunning. And they really like the Special Olympics. They did that. They do it here like they did like on the road. And it gives you goosebumps.
Yeah, it does give you goosebumps. Special shots and hits they put in there too.
Yeah, the chord changes and it's incredible. Very bombastic, but in the best possible way. You know what I mean? Like very.
Hey, while you tripping, this song still makes me cry.
I believe it.
This song still right here has that feeling. You know what I mean? If it catch you on a good day, you just feel, God damn. You know, this thing has that thing in it. It was like medicine in 92, 91, 92. He knew it was medicine. Another sense of his purpose, even being here. It's like, yeah, I know you want me to funk. I know you want me to come with it. I can give you a hit, like Camilla say. I can give you a hit. Yeah. But he did it with the most beautiful girl in the world too.
Wasn't this the one where he said he'd never play it without Rosie?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he didn't, right? I think he really literally did not.
Rosie lit this thing up.
They medleyed it in the Act Tour, in the Act 2 tour, but it was just an instrumental snippet.
Yeah, he would only do it with the piano, when he would do the piano interludes, and he would only do like maybe a 30-second to minute snippet of it. So yeah.
Well, he did do it with Layla Hathaway too later on.
Okay.
Remember that?
Well,
that's on
that's
YouTube.
That's a voice too, though.
Diamonds and Pearls, and she brought it, in that dark, deep tone. Really put it in a nice place. That's interesting to watch. Layla Hathaway and Prince doing Diamonds and Pearls. I think it was on one of those Welcome to America shows. So
now I'm gonna give you a guitar solo with your power ballad, right? After I gave you this soul, I gave you this harmony, I gave you all these musical things that Jason and Nicolay just discussed. Now I'm just gonna give you this fine guitar solo, and we're gonna be out.
Take it up. You know what I mean? Oh! You know what I'm saying? Snatch your heart.
Let's just talk about Rosie singing on this version of Diamonds and Pearls. I always thought the Special Olympics performance was my favorite, and I would listen to that all the time. I was a puddle of tears the first time I watched this and heard Rosie singing on this, and she's dapping up the crowd, and she is just amazing. She was never in the background, and I just can't say that enough. Prince gave her so much shine, and all the people who are like, oh, he held me back, and it was because of him that I wasn't as big a star as him. All of the delusionals from a certain era. It's like, Prince was so generous with his stage because he wasn't threatened by anyone. I forget who in the band said, he could play anyone's instrument or do what anyone else was doing at the level and beyond that they were doing, yet he still showed off people and was a bridge to whatever their next phase was going to be. And Rosie was no different. She just always got so much shine. I just wanted to point out this is just such a beautiful rendition of Diamonds and Pearls.
Yeah. And playing her ass off too. Like she's underrated on keyboards.
Yeah.
But she was holding it. She was holding 50% of the keyboards down. Let's not forget that.
And now I'm gonna give you a little church revival with a little soul spiritual with Willard and Abel.
My favorite song on the record.
Yeah. How about song number 4?
There you go.
3, 4, 5 or something like that. It's like, let's put it on them right here at the top.
There you go.
And this was one of the things that they recorded on the new tour in Japan, I believe, if I'm correct. And it was one of the moments where he realized like the type of band that he could do that, like that he could bring these guys in and just rip these grooves.
I mean, just think about the variety of music we're getting with these first 4 songs. In this, I often said, and maybe you guys can correct me, I still say that Prince's shows, first 15, 20 minutes, I haven't seen anybody live give you a better first opening 15, 20 minutes than Prince. And I've seen James Brown, Parliament Funkadelic, Stevie Wonder. I don't know if anybody gives you an opening 15, 20 minutes like Prince.
Variety wise.
That's such a good point.
Yes.
That's a good point.
Yes.
I mean,
James will come and cut you at 7.
Yeah.
Right.
You all to figure out never to wear my hair down to a Prince concert because, it was going to be sweat. completely out. And she said, see, Lee, about 2 or 3 songs in, it was going to be a wrap. So
look here, I'm gonna say what you ain't gonna say, because I had a perm back in the day, and James Brown and Prince, the only 2 dudes that ever sweat my perm out. So I'm just gonna say it. Prince sweated my perm out. I'm mad enough to say that Prince sweated my perm out. I said it right here. Polysolid. Breaking news.
as a natural, I already knew. So those of us who weren't permanent really knew not to go thinking Prince's curls were just bumped and spritzed to perfection. He's got the do-rag on, laying the sides down. Like, he's just like, I'm about to work it. And as he told Damon later, I got somewhere to go after this, so I can't shake my do loose. And again, these all these indices of Black culture that are so refreshing, because when you look at Whitney and Michael and Janet, who were also doing so well at this time, you know, they were phenomenal. And I'm not policing Blackness, but it was just something to see someone who achieved Prince's level of success choose Blackness and not to cleave these roots, but actually to run to them and have them so beautifully on display in a show. Oh my goodness, in a show like this. Yeah, he was doing it, wasn't he?
The vocals are flawless, like absolutely
Yes.
flawless, like in every way.
How do you
Like, and
actually
that-
for your music? Go ahead, Nicolai.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, in a small club like this, like, it's very, very hard to pull this off and hear yourself, like monitoring and stuff. Like, it's incredible to know that there's 15 people out there, and that it's incredible. Like, his vocals are like pristine. It's incredible.
What I was gonna ask is, when you know you got this big crescendo coming at the end of the song for you music folk, you know, I'm giving you 3 to music folk. How do you hold those tight harmonies with the energy and not get ahead of yourself when you know you got this big crescendo coming at the end of the song that's gonna be everything to everybody in the place?
I think it's because he will dock your pay if you don't.
No, say it. There you go.
That's just straight up professional. That's just the difference between a pro and not a pro. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
that's the top tier level of band rehearsing, arranging. Yeah.
That chest bump on here, I think I might be a little behind, but I'm sorry, y'all. My feed went out, but I just, in case I missed it, the little chest bump with the mic on Willie and Abel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you miss
and-
Tony playing guitar. Y'all don't give that man
Yeah.
credit for playing guitar. He dancing and he was holding guitar down too. More
And
than just
We really
a
don't.
dancer. That's for your writers, Camilla, too. You add that in there.
Yeah,
Let him know that
okay.
he's a full musician too. You know what I'm saying? The boy can
And-
play and wrote songs. Look at him.
And also, what this show does is, I always thought that Tony was a little fast on the tours, on both Act 1 and 2. On this show, he's not too fast. Like in this show, and hearing him talk about particularly Will and Abel, where he had to find the groove, you really see him riding the groove in a way in this show that he probably was a little fast on a lot of the other shows.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Practice.
I think he had a lot of wordy verses that made him have to really, I don't know. This works for it. Like, I'm not the biggest fan in the world of Mr. Tony M, but it works here because it's not so many words. You know what I mean?
I agree too. I
Well,
try to learn how to get into Tony M over the years. You know what I mean? Like how his whole combination work of 3 dancers, rappers, you know, coming out of Jerome and the 3 guys back there just being funky. You know, now they're doing more.
Well, it's time for the Jughead.
Come
Let's
on.
go.
It is time
And
for the
this was
Jughead.
funkier. This was even funkier because I wasn't
It
messing
really
with
was.
it on the record, but then live it's like, oh,
I'm gonna say this one last time. Some of y'all gonna know what I'm talking about, and some of y'all ain't. But for all of y'all, all them years that hated on Jughead, just in your mind, what I want you to have is that meme of Lil Boosie's daughter. Because that's all I'm getting you. You either know the little meme of Lil Boosie's daughter or you don't know the meme of and I go look up the meme of Lil Boosie's daughter, and when you see it, that's C. Lee responding to all y'all who had hate for Jughead. I told you!
Well, I will say this about Jughead. I've never been a big fan of Jughead. And even though, as with the Diamonds and Pearls presentation, as Arthur said, Celie, you tried to make us listen to Jughead with purpose. Let me tell you, we'll get there. But Prince coming out here getting dressed made this song an all-time favorite.
It's a funky bass line, though. It's a funky bass line.
Yeah, listen, and they funky
in the bass line.
Yeah.
I was watching in absolute splendor at him. Oh yes, so yeah, and I love hurt me in the energy and the arrangement, because he was hurting me out here with this. So I will definitely say live, they just killed the song live.
Yeah.
Like the band just killed it.
And the problem is, because there's a DVD. If it was a VHS, Camille, if it was a VHS, they could play it backwards with him getting undressed. But see, they can't play it backwards with the DVD. So.
Yeah, I only needed so much, I just could only, your girl could only handle so much. And also, I will say, as much as the band is killing this, just notice the way the temperature changes when Prince arrives on stage. It's again that thing that everyone's great, but he's just next level. Like this is, I'm grooving, and Rosie is throwing down with her MC.
Rosie's rapping. Yeah.
Rosie's handling it.
It works though. It really works.
It does.
There's so a lot of joy.
Fun. Yes, it's so fun. And it's such a, I know there was talk yesterday about Prince and the joy and whether it was corny. And I just have to keep reiterating that this is such a triumphant show. It's like, once again, I had to shut up the haters. Y'all thought, I was dead. But so when we think about from the rehearsal of the Special Olympics, and we don't know Diamonds and Pearls yet, to this show, and it's a hit. The album's a hit. He's getting ready to tour behind yet another hit album in his canon. And oh God, there he is. And then another hit. This was, you all, okay, I'm gonna mute and let y'all discuss among yourselves, because this gets me. He's so confident and he's so into it. And he says, yeah, I've proved you wrong again. I think, Jason, you mentioned about Most Beautiful Girl. And I remember in the slave trade documentary when Michael B. said Prince put so much pressure on himself to make Most Beautiful Girl a hit because so much was riding on it. And I felt like this album, too. It's like he constantly had to keep shutting folks up. And this concert is so joyful and triumphant because he's done that now. Like, we are on the other side of it, where this is a hit. I've shut you up. I've secured the bag for my next move, which he's really forecasting and willing and able. And now he's just having fun with it. This is him and his boys having fun. And just thinking about Prince getting dressed, and how I almost lost consciousness I wanted to kind of strangle, was it Scott McCullough, whoever, who turned away right before he tied his tie, because that's a big deal for me. And obviously not to the cameraman, but I was like, no, don't cut away yet. And but what I love is also his style here is a throwback to Black folks dressing. Like we dress down, and Tom Burrell, the advertising pioneer, Black advertising pioneer, talked about how, because of the history of how we were so demeaned and our image so desecrated, that when we had some agency, dressing became so important. And Prince, in his memoir, talking about watching his father and mother get dressed up and just showing up clean. And so, as much as this is the gangster glam and that whole deal, it's also such a throwback to me to the way, Black people would just get clean and dress up, the ties, and just, and he revisits it again with musicology. And I just love, not only is the music a throwback, but the aesthetic is a throwback. Well, and it's Prince always making the old new and keeping the blood flowing. And so I love this. And I think about, Prince, again, just keeping that tradition of Black men dressing, and just how he falls right back in line dancing. It's just,
it's perfectly tied. It's amazing.
And yet to the point where I was like, did you plan this?
It's something to be said about, as men, when we get dressed up, from somebody who get dressed up, especially at a certain age. You know, we feel like we need to show them something else about us.
Yeah.
The shirts, the t-shirts, the collars up, whatever. We need to get clean, and we feel fantastic. We can't even explain it. I don't even think I've seen anybody explain it anywhere, how fantastic men feel when we dressed up in ties and suits and pinkies and lapel flowers and just clean. You feel great about yourself. Now imagine playing some funk on top of that.
Right.
Thanks for sharing that, Jason. I think a lot of times we don't get that insight into men, and so I appreciate you.
And thank you for sharing that. But Camilla, I've done it at Funk Jazz Cafe. I've literally looked at myself on pictures in my 20s. Don't forget, I started at like 22, right? So in my 30s, I'm like, wait a minute, we got to start showing them. Aren't we men now? People treating us in meetings like boys, right?
Right.
You know.
And speaking of getting dressed up, it's time to go to church. Go ahead, brother. I want brother to go, but it's time to go to church. Just wanted to give you the time to go to church.
No, let's stick with it. Let's stick with what we're doing. You know?
There you go.
On the shout out for the One Night Alone tour suits also. Yep, that was another clean period. One of my favorite shows was that One Night Alone show at the Chicago Theater. Love that concert.
Whereas people might have him imprint of him from Sexuality video or 1999. You know, he got to come up and be like, bam, let me show you what it is. And all colors.
We're still trying to relegate him to riding the motorcycle in Purple Rain, you know.
That's right. That's
so
right.
And the whole point about, like, I like what like brother said about getting dressed up, right? What Sacrifice of Victor really does, Sacrifice of Victor really helps you launch Prince even more into a social political poet, right? That not only just lyrically, but phonetically, right? So you're getting church. This is a freedom song. Like, a lot of people don't understand how important freedom songs were to the civil rights movement. So this isn't just a gospel. This is a freedom song. This is another part of that Black liberation. And what's happening here is that what you're getting is you're getting a double I, right? When Prince is singing I in Sacrifice of Victor, you have the I of the singer, of the speaker of the poem or of the song, but then you also have the collective I of the congregation, the Black population, right? And so what you're seeing in this song is the Black individual and their struggle for civil rights, but also the collective. So when he talks about that epileptic seizure at the beginning, he's talking about his own personal struggle, but also what epilepsy does is epilepsy limits your frame of movement. That is what was wrong with the Black community through segregation and Jim Crow and Black codes. Black people were limited in their movement, limited in their ability to be all that they could. So breaking that epileptic seizure was not just Prince individually breaking it, but it was the Black community breaking the strains, breaking the chains of segregation and Jim Crow, and saying that, by the way, I'm singing this today because it ain't over. I'm singing this today because there are still these social political ills that need to be heard. So I'm going to be a freedom song singer, right? In 1992, when the album comes out. And so, because that's a part of who I am, I said,
no,
that come on,
Preach.
through,
come on, man.
That was perfect. That was perfect. And I think, again, this is part of the shift that people aren't ready for with Prince. Like, he knows if a single to just say, hey, we'll be colorblind, and people are like, yeah, I'm here for it. And a lot of people bought albums without really diving into the album tracks. I notice when I'm talking to some Prince fans, like, you know, but for those of us where the money is sacred, we're buying the album, we're listening to everything front and backward. And in Chicago, a lot of Black radio, we were always just playing whatever. We didn't care what the official singles were. We were paying. That's why a song like Adore makes it to the hits, and it wasn't even an official single because we were just playing whatever. And so what I love about the Sacrifice of Victor beyond, and I have to say this also, this performance of Sacrifice of Victor, somebody said it was otherworldly. It truly is. And I love, because I wasn't as crazy about the Ride Divine performance of this, but Rosie here with the stills.
Yeah.
This was like, you know, if you've never been to church, this was it. This will, you know, check it off your list. Just this performance alone, it's just so good. And someone said what the Kane pimp was, Prince was pimp and preacher.
Yeah.
in this performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love it. It's just so good. And the dancing and the stills. I love whichever still brother that is in the white back there just killing it. Like there's everybody's into it. The horn players look a little lost, a little out of step back here with this. Like maybe this isn't something they can really pull from. But
Well, no. Remember what they said. Remember the horn players? They had only been with him. What was it, 30 days or something?
right.
Yeah. So they were saying that they said I think whoever the de facto leader of the hornhead said it was amazing that they could even stay on beat because I don't think they had been working with him for even about 30 days or so.
And they sound amazing though. Like,
They do.
and they sounded amazing till the very end. Like it
Yes.
added something incredible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what I also loved was when you take in the Sacrifice of Victor special that he did. And by that time, so you have the iteration of top of my head, bottom of my soles of my feet, right at the end of this, and then by the time you get the Sacrifice of Victor, that top of my head, soles of my feet, your love KBB. It's a whole different thing that they do. You know.
Yeah.
You're right, Phoebe. You're right. This is just. It's just too much. Like and Rosie, Rosie is so beautiful, and I forget who said it earlier, if it was Rhonda. You know, I love seeing just such a beautiful woman. We don't talk about Rosie enough, and I'm not trying to objectify her, but she's so resplendent. She's so beautiful and regal and elegant, you know, but she can, like Aretha, get down into that gut bucket growl and then ascend to these heavenly heights with her notes, and her energy and presence are just, you know, they're just unparalleled. I absolutely love Rosie. I'm so grateful she got some shine with this. Unlike, you know, the Sign of the Times said, I'm going to veer into negative Nancyville for a moment. I really hope there's a Love Sexy, Black Sexy, whatever, to give those band members more than just, and many others mentioned, like they really deserved, because this got it right with Rosie, and I'm happy for it because even I learned more about just how dynamic Rosie was. And I love the story Latoya told about her mother hugging Prince even after she said, don't look at him, don't do this, and she hugged him. Was like, oh, I just love you, because it really represented the way so many people in the Black community felt about Prince. And it was because of this, you know, an artist of this level bringing the Black church to his show, to his music in a way that others didn't, you know, and it's just, especially not at this time where the doors were really just opening for crossover again after the kind of blackout of 78 to about 83. And so go on, Prince. And it's just like, I just love the love that we have for him and the love that he had for us to uplift us this way. So when we talk about Black joy and reclamation and celebration, we see it here, and I love it.
Yeah, it really feels like the Parliament Funkadelic tradition too here. Like in a lot, it's a different version of it, but it's very much that sort of Live in Houston '77.
Oh,
like 25 people on stage.
I watch that every Halloween. Harold knows I watch that every Halloween.
So y'all tell me, who is who's the guitar player whose job it is to bring down the mothership? What's the brother's name?
Glenn Goins.
Glenn Goins. Look, when you said that, him bringing down the mothership is the Stills and Levi. When Prince and Levi get in that Deacon. Deacon. Oh, they bringing down the mothership. That is perfect. The mothership is being brought down with the Sacrifice of Victor right now. That is a perfect. I'm so glad y'all brought every time I play the brother bringing down the mothership, I'm standing up talking about, let the mothership come down. Let it land right here in Jackson, Mississippi. So let the Sacrifice of Victor bring down the mothership right now, preacher. Deacon, now we return you to your viewing pleasures. Go ahead on with the phone. Go on with the phone.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
But it's so true. It's so true. Thank you for that, Nicolay, because I live every Halloween. It's not complete until that mothership lands in my living room for that show
That's right.
in Houston. And it is like that, like all of these people, just an army, one nation under a groove on the stage, and how just such a master Prince is at mining it, and just all of the dapping up with like they're just things, again, these indices of blackness, like just the random dap, like, yo, like we are killing this, we're smoking, and I just love it so much. And again, to the horn players, props to them. I know Michael B. Nelson talked about missing when he says, I need my horns to swell. They miss some cues a few times, and you see him really looking them down and get off later. But yeah, they did an excellent job, because this could not have been easy to come into this, just a month prior and be up here just enveloped in all of this, and just from the word go having to get it. But man, Rosie screaming on here. Even Prince looks like, man, this sister is, how did I get so blessed to have her on my music?
All right, here we go. Nothing compares to you.
And was this the first time we saw Rosie and Prince sing the song together?
It would have to be, because this is the first public iteration of it. Because I don't think they did this. Because Prince did Nothing Compares to You by himself, right, on the Nude tour. And in fact, I'll say my favorite of that was in the La Coruña show.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I love his Nothing Compares to You, and I love his Alphabet Street. Both of those in La Coruña. You gonna say something, Nicolay? My bad.
Yeah, the Nothing Compares to You that's on the hits is another one from, I think, early in the year, but not this one.
Okay.
So I don't know which one was first, but they were, at this point, it was like a thing where they do it as a duet. The version on the hits is incredible too.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I love that version. Love that version. And like you say, it's a real duet, right? It's a real call and response.
Yes, it is. And I remember when the triplets were together, D'Angelo, Cabria, and I think that was in Black Portraitures, and we went to a dance performance from the dance troupe, and D'Angelo was the first one. We were talking about backup singers, and Cabria and I were like, we love Rosie, she's our favorite. And D'Angelo was like, well, Rosie wasn't a backup. And that was the first time we were like, you're right. We never thought of her that way until D'Angelo said it. And we were like, you are so right. She really wasn't. Rosie was never, it was really a co-lead, but her greatness, as we see here, is the way she's able to do backup and lead and co-lead. She's just really able to just do it all.
And what you really see here is Rosie may have been one of the few people who could embody just about every role that femininity could play in Prince's canon, right? Yeah. Because Rosie is sensuous, she's sisterly, and she can also be sexual, right? And what Rosie allows us to do is that a lot of people, particularly from the Eurocentric, see, the Afrocentric concept doesn't have a confusion between sensuality and sexuality.
Right.
What happens in the Eurocentric concept is that sensuousness has to always become sexuality. And so Rosie is probably one of the very few people who could embody those three pillars of female or womanhood that could give Prince even more paints to color, even more to create a tapestry of, because not only vocally was her range so wide, her understanding of what notes and note placement, and her understanding of both her body and how to exude herself as a performer, right? She could be both in the Get Out video with Caligula. She could then be in the Diamonds and Pearls video. She could then give you Sacrifice. So she could go from the club to the church to the schoolhouse, and nobody better than I, because Rosie was giving you the levels of womanhood, and particularly from that Afrocentric notion that these things don't have to be separated, because you can't truly separate the body from the spirit, because if you cut them off, one of them is bound to die anyway. I'll shut up.
You know, this song is also funkin' too. It's funkin'.
Yes.
As you listen to it, I'm over here bouncing. Boom, 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 boom. It's funky too.
Thanks.
So y'all musicians, tell me what goes into y'all thinking when y'all are creating these arrangements of how you want to, like how you want to subtly change things. What are y'all thinking about in like a song like this when you're making those changes in arrangements?
Nicolay?
Well, I think what is really interesting here is that it's obviously a very different version from both the family version as well as the Sinead cover. And it really feels like he's sort of pulling it much more in like a soul context. And I think it was probably, again, inspired by the band, like inspired by the people that he had just enlisted in his in Uncle Jam's army, so to speak. And I think it was sort of their language, if you will, that sort of transformed it from a very sort of almost industrial, like the way that Sinead did it, a very sort of kind of almost like a colder version, to back to like a very warm version with the horns and everything. And I think this is why I yesterday called Prince like our Duke Ellington, you know what I mean, in terms of
No
just
doubt.
knowing like how to write. Like I know with the horns he had a lot of help from the Hornet specifically, but still like his arrangements, his band leading really puts him above like pretty much everybody else at that time, because a lot of the other artists that were at this level had musical directors, you know what I mean, like Michael had a musical director, Madonna had a musical director, Prince was his own musical director, you know, so it's just another layer I think that really added to his just the universal nature of his talent.
You know what else,
So-
Nicolay? You said it like you remind me of a story. The first time I met Prince was with Chuck D. We walked in the room and Chuck called him Duke. Now, mind you, Prince can't even look at us because he's watching the performance of the show. We walk from the soundboard around to the front. And he's looking at us like, hey. And Chuck says, yo, Duke. And Prince goes, what? He goes, Duke, man, you like Duke Ellington. I'm over there like, yeah, Duke Ellington. You like Duke Ellington. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's
sure.
deep what you said, because that's definitely the truth. Let's talk about this Thieves in the Temple. You know, I was living in St. Thomas at the time it came out. Let me tell you how profound this song and music is. I'm sitting there here, so all the music is boop, 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 you know, and I hear Thieves in the Temple. I was like, I got to move back to America. They moving. Something's changing. Something is happening. I got to go. Y'all down here on a repeat beat. This man right here is progressing black music and black people. You know, and I got to go. And Thieves in the Temple is what did it. When you listen to it, the chorus at the beginning, I was like, oh my God, the world is turning. And this made it sound like it was moving for me.
And then you got here and didn't find another Thieves in the Temple.
Did not listen at you, Camilla. Listen at you.
Well, I was going to say, I love the arrangement on this. Prior to this, the Earl's Court version is my favorite because aesthetically with the chain hat and the back. Okay, so I'm gonna stop that. But that performance, it's sensory overload. So this one, I could focus a little bit more because he's wearing a suit. He's not in the other regalia as he is in the Earl's Court version. But I just love this. And again, now he's on acoustic guitar. He's already shredded some electric guitar. And, you know, Prince is he's always been such an amazing guitarist. Black folks knew it from like day one that he was one of the greatest. And what I love is that he just continued to get better. And D'Angelo said this once, that Prince never really, to use her verb, luxuriated. I love that with the guitar in the studio. And I remember him saying something one time about just he has to feel it in his live performances with guitar. Whenever someone wants to talk about Prince with guitar, I'm like, okay, let me compile some live stuff for you. Dark Side, I love it because you get to hear him going in on it. But this is so amazing to me because just looking at the different ways he plays guitar through the show, and this particular version and arrangement of Thieves in the Temple, and he's got the throwback, you know, Sign of the Times guitar here, and when he mixes it with it's just, you know, amazing. And I can't say enough that though they were saying he needed hits, Thieves in the Temple was #1 on the Black charts. BET played that video to death because that was the only place we could see the long version with Robin Power, you know, her friend coming in there, the whole Put Your Foot on the Rock version of the song. And it was just an amazing song and a testament to the varied taste and layered and dimensional taste of Black people. So I'm glad you shared that story, Jason, because I think it doesn't get enough attention because it wasn't bigger on the white charts, though I still think it hit number like 6 or something like that on those charts, but it's just one that doesn't get enough attention. So I love that Prince gave it the attention that it deserved by putting it in his live show and on the tour.
Yeah, it's like he had to deliver these songs. Nicolay, what you think about this version? Is the way he vamping it out?
Love it. Love it. Like, I love Prince on acoustic guitar. Like, that's a treat because it's relatively rare, you know. And it really works, and you can see the passion that he's really into this. And yeah, I love Prince on acoustic. Like, I love the Love Sexy moments where he did that, the Sign of the Times moment where he did that. I know that at the tour they sort of kind of really sort of elongated this song.
Right.
With a lot of the other, like, the sort of the Arabian themes that they brought into it. But yeah, I just love Prince on acoustic, man. Like, I can't get enough of, like, it really reminds me also of that little musicology set that he did around 2004 with Sweet Thing and stuff like that. It's kind of how Prince began, I guess, you know. So
listen to where
a
we
very
at.
pure version of it.
Listen to where we at. It's like we're in another world with it. What country are we in?
Right. I will only add that I don't disagree with anything anybody said. However, I will say that my favorite live version of it is from the Rock in Rio show.
Oh, yeah.
Only because the vocal delivery is a little bit more soulful.
Yeah.
And so and so that's and so that's what I love about it, is it a little bit low soul. We got the 12:08 a.m.
Yeah.
We let you know. There you go. We let you know.
We're gonna have to pay that fee.
That's right. Somebody, you ain't got to go home.
But you got to.
Yeah, but there you go.
Get the hell out of here.
That's it.
In terms of documenting this, I love that they were. I think Declan said this yesterday about the work that went into making this really feel like an archival footage, and adding the time and bringing us into this narrative of the clock ticking down and he's still performing and what's going to happen. So you're building this suspense along with watching this amazing show. And there are times where I get lost in it and I'm like, oh wait, this has been 45 minutes, you know, like I'm ready to go all night. So I love that the way I just thought they did a really great job with this.
Look at where we at now, boy.
And so now we are lunching. Lunching in the Sexy MF. And before we get into Sexy MF, I'll only say to kind of to dovetail off of what Sister Cummins just said. Prince has a narrative history of the police intruding on Black joy.
Yes.
If you think about DMSR, that's a narrative history of the police intruding on Black joy. If you think about Purple Rain and the police officer driving by Morris, that's the police intruding on Black joy. Once again, with this, if you think about Call the Law, it's the police intruding on Black joy. So it's those kinds of things, those kinds of moments when people talk about Prince forgot his Black base. No, you just weren't paying attention.
Exactly.
Because Prince was always talking about those issues. But the problem with popular culture and popular music is that most people miss nuance and subtlety. Exactly. If you're not screaming your message, then most people miss it. And the same thing here with Sexy MF. What a lot of people forget about this song, because it is so funky, what he's ultimately declaring in Sexy MF is the sexiest MF is an MF that's spiritually sexy. The sexiest MF is an MF who got herself together on the inside. He asking, sister, what you bringing to the table with your mind? What you bringing to the table with your heart? What you bringing to the table with your soul? I can build with a sister like that.
Look at
But
that.
if you ain't got nothing in your mind, he said, in a word or two is you what I want to do. No, not your body, your mind, you fool.
You fool.
I ain't trying to build with somebody who ain't got nothing upstairs. So once again, the sexiness or the
Sexy.
sexy got to be what Morris Day said, when you cool on the inside, you condensate. Sexy MF. If you intellectually, spiritually, emotionally together, that make you a sexy MF. Stand up, put your hands on the radio, put your hands on the internet. We gonna spread this sexiness around and let's enjoy this funk the horns laying down.
That's called sapiosexual.
There you go. There you
Look
go.
it up.
I also think this is a song that he could literally not have done with any of the previous bands. Like literally, you know what I mean? This is truly the culmination of all of this.
Not condensate.
Close to JB,
I
but
wanted
not
to add
JB, right? It's like a homage to JB, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or just trying to borrow that level of funk. Prince borrowed everybody's funk. You know what I'm saying? And made it his own.
Exactly.
Right?
And I think
this
that's
is a
the
great
thing.
example of it. Sexy MF. The older heads, it was bringing generations together because the older heads was like, I don't mess with Antichrist, Antichrist, but I like that. I like Sexy MF. I don't mess with Purple Rain and Darling Nigga, but I mess with that right there. So it was bringing people together. And, you know, they'll even like do the saying. Old folks be like, sexy motherfucker. You be like, oh, look at your grandma. You better stop. You know, but it was like cheeky for them in the James Brown delivery.
Right.
Yep.
And he borrowed it and took it. You know, it's Sexy MF now. It's rolling to a whole nother generation.
And I
Classic
just
Prince.
wanted to add to that because we got past it, but I love the intro of this where he says, I'm silly if you don't understand me. Like,
Yeah.
that was so, and to do that, to launch into this song, to go back to what C. Lee was saying about what he's saying, because I always remember the guys who didn't get me, and they'd be like, well, how you listen to Prince? You don't listen to this certain rapper, this and another, and you listen to Prince, and he's talking about a sexy MF. And I'm always like, go back and read the lyrics and then come back and talk to me, because Prince got it. And people who are, again, surface level and absent dimension, absent nuance, they didn't get Prince. They thought he was just bumping and grinding and that running around, you know, with his butt out, and not understanding that he was so multidimensional, so layered. We're still here unpacking. And, you know, as we enjoy the music, we're just unpacking still what he gave us lyrically. He's lyrically so strong. And I remember Bob Dylan, when he was with the Traveling Willoughbys or whatever, I was reading this article where he was like, oh, I'm going to sit down and do a song like Prince. And he was like, he was playing on the piano. He said, baby, 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 just give me your sexy body, baby, baby, baby. And I was so offended by that, because I said, Prince never wrote a song that simple. Now I get it. A lot of those guys were jealous of Prince.
A lot of people.
But it was so reductive and so unbecoming of Prince's brilliance as a songwriter. But again, there's that space where writing is considered an intellectual pursuit, and this prevailing idea that Black people just lack the intellect to write with all these different literary devices in the way that Prince did. You know, he was a storyteller, and he was complex and layered and used so many different literary devices. And as D'Angela pointed out earlier, it's just a shame, but not, I'll just say it's a shame that he's not in the Songwriter Hall of Fame just because of what these things represent in the larger context.
Well,
anybody know anything about the girl he was teasing at the front of the stage on Sexy MF? Prince and Damon?
No, I was wondering who that was.
Anybody know anything about that? D'Angelo, you know anything about that? Because it's a close connection there. Something's happening.
TP is right. Whoever you are, TP, she seems so unaffected. I was like, could they stop wasting their time on this and focus on I was like, is this somebody's sister? I just didn't get it. I was like, okay, y'all.
All right, it's time for you to light whatever you gonna light, turn down whatever you gonna turn down, pour whatever you gonna pour. Let me say it one more time. Light whatever you gonna light, turn down whatever you gonna turn down, and pour whatever you gonna pour. It's that time of the evening.
Yeah, no, that's right.
If you got some pajamas, feel free to put them on.
It's that time of the day.
Oh my goodness.
Insatiable.
I will say this.
Comes to you.
I will say this about the tour, and feel free to correct me if you want, if you guys know too. I will say this. There was something about Mate on the roller skates at doing the tour that worked with this. I don't know why.
I
don't even go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm just saying.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know why. Maybe because I grew up with sisters who roller skated. You know, you knew. And my wife, by the way, still can roller skate. Don't get her mad. Act like she will dust off her roller skates. And so it was, but it was something about Mate on those roller skates that really fit. Beautiful. With this presentation of Insatiable. But again, here we're getting that stripped down, just him and Rosie. Really, you know what this reminds me of? This version of Insatiable reminds me of what Ray Charles said when they asked Ray Charles, said, why are you taking these gospel tunes into the club? And Ray Charles said the only difference between R&B and gospel is that we say baby, baby, and they say Lord, Lord. That is the only difference. Cause we both trying to lay hands on somebody. Amen. Funkalooza, laying hands.
That's right. And, I think Mate looked so good. It went with the silkiness of the song. It's just smooth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to see a muse just floating around with it. It's like, ooh, it's going together. That's the thing we try to do in live performances, match this imagery up with the music. And that's one of those cases where it's fit and it's going with the silkiness of the song. And he's clean, he's crooning. I mean, who croons now, right?
Right.
Begging for your woman.
No,
you know what I'm saying? That's a classic art right there.
And I think it speaks, Jason, I love what you said. It speaks to, again, what several people said, I think yesterday, that the Prince was a visual artist as well. And going to what Levi said about, his well having no bottom, just certain things. I remember we went with our dear friend, and we bonded in our love of Prince in 3rd grade, and her daughter, who's now 18, we took her to the Prince Immersive here in Chicago. And one of her takeaways was she said he was kind of like Harry Styles to her in his presentation. And my friend who's in marketing, she said, yeah, but the difference is Harry Styles probably has a room full of people telling him what to do and dressing him. And this was coming from Prince. It was so obviously coming from Prince that, going to Harold's quote about George Clinton and how he assembled Parliament Funkadelic, is that no matter who was in Prince's reach in terms of band members, whoever was in his employee, we got Prince all the way through, because he's definitely the captain of the ship down to these visuals. We saw him skating with the boys in Gangster Glam, so we know, like you see, Lee, he was coming up with the sister skating. And so putting that into Insatiable, it was really a beautiful, and the pearl cage coming down on her skating, and I thought that was a beautiful visual to this performance. So Rosie's backing, and Harold pointed out during one of these showings where she's like in the background, like, sing Prince, when he's singing. I just, again, their interplay, I just love it. And this was shades of Do Me Baby from the news, with Levi's guitar playing, and just that transition of Levi from bass to guitar. And, I love seeing second guitarist. Harold and I have talked about before, and, no hate, but the change in the sound in the show when Dez left, it brought the show down. I'm sorry, I never liked Revolution performances. I remember when they would show Take Me With You, the video on Video Vibrations, and it was like, okay, time for snacks, because I just never got into that. I think about that trio of Prince and Dez and Andre, and then Prince and Dez and Brown Mark, and it was lost on the Purple Rain tour. So when Miko comes in, and it's like Prince doesn't have to play guitar all the time because this brother can handle it. And the way Prince plays when he's got another guitarist in the band who's at his level, who's a compliment, we see it here with Levi. Now, wait a minute, because this is a moment where I might need to turn my screen off now. But when he's up here, And Kanisa, shout out for when you put this up. You posted this with like no audio and just like, let's look at Prince and his movements. It's quite astounding. But again, having someone else who can handle the guitar duties at this level frees Prince up to do so much. So shout out to Levi and shout out to Sonny T, who, as Cabria, my sister, says, he was working like the rent and the mortgage were due and the car payment. Like, he doesn't get a lot of shine, but my goodness, he just does it on here.
Yeah. Levi is and Miko before him were massive improvements. I think that Wendy, with all due respect, never really was able to, like, she would have actual flubs, like she would have big flubs during big shows, and this is an era where there's no flubs, like none. You know what I mean? Like, and I think it fits with the music, it fits with the era. But Levi on guitar is probably my favorite part of this whole experience, and definitely into the Act 2 tour. And just adds a jazzy sort of feel to the funk that is really remarkable, because he was so good on bass. Like, he was excellent on bass, but on guitar I think he was an entirely different type of beast. And I like when he used to play with the playing card. There's some videos where he's playing, instead of a pick, he's using like an ace or something, like a play. It's like, dude, get the hell out of here. You're too fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all keep
Such
talking.
An amazing song. Such a sexy song. Like, really, I think it reminds me of Scandalous a little bit. It's got that sort of, but this is like a refined version of that, if that makes sense. But this is one of his all-time. Right. This is one of his all-time, I think, ballads. Absolutely.
This performance is just too much. I have a question. So for people who aren't sexually attracted to Prince, what's happening for you when you're watching this? Because this is a bit much for some of us.
What you mean?
So,
what you mean? I might be one of them. I ain't looking at it like that. What you mean?
It's Prince, though.
Like, what does this do for you all? Because
so you're saying it was sexual for you?
If you're not
coming
sexually attracted to Prince, what's happening when you're watching this? I'm just curious.
So for those who didn't look at it like that, because I never thought of that. Thank you for you saying that. Never looked at it like that in my life. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he's so hot, right? You know?
So what are you all
do that for
right
something
now?
like Insatiable or something. But Cream, you're like, oh, it's burning. So there again is another example of the music and intent matching for the ladies. Cream, get on top. You're hearing lyrics. It's like that song "Water" out now, where it sounds like an Afrobeat song, but she's talking about getting wet. You know what I'm saying? So you're saying, and Cream, you know, it's kind of a play on that. Cream, get on top.
But I mean, the visual that you're seeing, like, what's going through your head when you're watching? Because I know, like, say if I see somebody like, I mean, I would never go see Usher, but when I see clips of Usher and the women are going all crazy, I'm just like, whatever. And I'm not into his music either, so none of it works for me. But Prince being so beautiful, and then the command he has of his sexuality, you know, as a woman or anyone who's attracted to men and handsome men like this, he understands it. Like, he really is another instrument. So I'm just curious, you know, if anybody in the chat, I don't know, you know, what you all are you just focusing on the music, or what are you focusing on?
You know what? I'm glad you asked that question, because that's something I've spoken about it, like, personally, but never like publicly. So I'll start answering your question this way. You know, I was very lucky. Well, I don't know, lucky, unlucky. You know, my father took me to see Prince open for Rick James when I was 10 years old for the Fired Up tour. So I got to see Prince in Memphis, Tennessee, in his drawers and his long coat. And, you know, and so what I can say is that learning all those songs at a young age, it was not sexual to me because I was a reader early. It was poetic. Like what everybody else was finding sexual, I was finding insanely creative. That he's able to say that in a certain way. So that was my end, right? So it was like, and so Prince for me was, as a guy, you have to understand, at the age of 6 years old, I was going to see B.B. King at the homecoming concert every year in Indianola, Mississippi. So Prince was for me the next iteration of blues, the next iteration of rock. So I guess the best thing that I could like you said, it was just for me, it was just the music. It was the creativity of the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got that other people were kind of losing their mind over it. But for me, it was always like, oh wow, he's doing that on purpose with the music, with the lyrics, and his fashion and dance. Like I understood that it was all artistry. Right. So my engagement was watching him get the same reaction out of his crowd that a preacher would get. And if you remember, in my book, I quote what Prince says that Martin Luther King and John F. Kennedy were some of the greatest performers of all time because they could master language to move people. I think about that statement coming from a popular culture artist, that Martin Luther King and John F. Kennedy are great performers because they could move people. So for me, it was I got that it was sexual for everybody. Look, when I was at 10 years old, Sister Camille, and I saw this girl faint from Prince doing head, two things went through my mind. The first thing that went through my mind was, that's just like what happened in church when they fall out. Like I know she was falling out from head, but it was like it was the same kind of being slain in the spirit. And I went like, oh, he's doing the same thing artistically. And so I just became in awe of Prince's ability to be so creative, to impact people's moods in such a way that that's what it was for me. And I never got into the, oh, I'm gonna play Prince to get this girl excited, or I'm gonna play Prince to have sex because I know this girl gets turned on. I was so into the innovation of Prince that I didn't even want to spoil it with some dumb broad who only thought Prince was sexy. And so I end on this. The reason my wife is my wife, I've been with the same woman since 1991. The reason my wife is my wife was because I put a bootleg in my car and she knew what it was. I was like, I'm about to ride with her.
Thank you for that, Susie. Those are two words I never thought would come out of your mouth. But I would say this, and shout out to Monica. But I did want to say that I asked that question because it's very interesting the way people engage with different artists. And Prince is someone who has men who love him, who has women who love him. And, you know, for a lot of women, he's such a master of seduction and the sensual. And there are a lot of artists who are like, quote unquote, sexual, but they don't attract women the way that Prince did. And he can be very sexual, like with that Insatiable performance, but it's always disarming. It always puts you at ease and invites you in. And so I know as women, we're looking at something and he's physically so stunning, but there's also a metaphysical and spiritual aspect, as Celie said, to his seduction. And so I was just curious if you're not being seduced in the moment, what are you doing? So thank you for the input on that.
And just to move us along, we're on Cream, and this is Prince in his blues bag. I'm gonna forever say that Cream is a blues song that Prince tweaked for the studio version, but he never performed it live the way it is on the studio version. Because live, it always had more grit. It almost had more stroke. And I'm gonna let you guys, because I really want you guys to comment on Cream as a live performance and what it meant to you guys.
Well, Cream, I mean, like you said, it's the blues pretty much, you know. So like in the Prince fashion, you get to the live performance stage of it. It does have grit. It's a little more aggressive. It's got more bite. You know, the message actually came across for me because as a song, as a single, I wasn't really, you know, we go from Get Off to Cream.
Right.
You know, you got me on the funk train. I'm on the funk train. And back then, I'm a young dude. I want to stay on the funk train. Right. And then I come with Cream. But by this time, let me also say this. By this time in my life with Prince coming from For You on up, and not seeing him until like the second album on the Back on the Horse, and being like, oh shit, that's him, you know. And was loving the music, singing "I Want to Be Your Lover" and all this. So by this time, as a young man, feeling like in order for me to mature, I'm gonna have to understand that this man is doing something before me. This is something that my ear will have to mature and open up to and learn. So fast forward, I'm in St. Thomas and then Thieves in the Temple. I was like, damn it, I knew it. I got to go. Like, this man had reached a point. So even with Cream, I'm like, you know what? I'm not dissing no more Prince songs. You know what I'm saying? It's something in all of them that I gotta learn. There's something encoded in these songs in terms of life and opening up yourself and knowing how to receive it. And Cream definitely was one of them that taught me that lesson, you know. So I was thankful when we came to see it live or whatever, and it was just funky. It's like Take Me With You. You remember Take Me With You was one of those things that you're glad to hear it when it come on live. And Cream became one of those by the time we get to Welcome to America. You know what I mean? It was one of those weapon songs. Cream. He never let it go. He kept it the whole time. And he didn't keep Sexy Motherfucker.
But
think about that.
I was going to say to that, well, who wants to hear a 50-year-old man saying that? So not in terms of ageism, but I want to see Prince grow and evolve. I remember a friend of mine was like, she didn't like the musicology tour because he didn't do Nicki. And I was like, I don't want to see Prince at 50 saying, call me up whenever you want to grind. It's like when I saw Cameo and Larry Blackman was still wearing the red cup. It's like at some point we got
to speak on it. Speak on it.
But you can still play the funk and Sexy Motherfucker like he did a whole like Dirty Mind. Like I Want to Be Your Lover. You can still Sexy Motherfucker, you want to let that go? Just you could leave the lyrics out, but you want to leave the funk out.
Look at
so I get you, Camilla, but on Sexy Motherfucker, I think I would rather kind of, you know, he could. You don't want to say Sexy Motherfucker. He was even calling where he would say sexual, he would say spiritual. You know, he would transform that lyrical.
You spiritual MF? You spiritual MF?
No, don't even use it. Just play the funk.
Just okay, because I'm like, wait, I'm confused, Jason. Help us with that. Yeah, it was tight. But I need to come back to
all of that. That's hard as hell.
Cream goes. I wanted to just say to what C. Lee said. It's so funny that the decision was made to release Cream only to pop and white radio, and at the same day to release Insatiable for Black radio, and because Cream, we go to my sister and Prince, Mia, and my twin sister Cabri, we go to a Prince tribute every year as part of the Great Black Music Project, and some of the best musicians in Chicago get together, Black musicians, and play tribute to Prince, and they play Cream every year. The set list changes, but they play Cream every year, and I always say I love how they strip it down to those blues roots. You know, it's Chicago. And the audience loves it, you know, and we knew Cream was a blues song, but to distract the masses, it's let me tinker with this a little bit for the recording. Let me, you know, surround myself with white women in this video and present it in a way in terms of branding that's marketable to the mainstream. But anyone who knows what's up, as C. Lee said, this is a blues song, and Prince always played it that way. And so in Chicago, when we get to the tribute every year and they play it with that blues imprint on it, it's just beautiful.
That's the part I mean. Like you might grow up and learn that this is simply the blues that he decorated in a fashion to make a pop song, and it was a hit for him. Yeah. But in the essence of life and how we gonna use this music, it's basically a blues song.
Yeah.
You know.
But so are a lot of them, right? So is Kiss. You know, I think he's always really. I think he's always. Alphabet Street is another one.
Yeah. Mean blues.
I think he's really, really successful when he does that, and I was always on board with Cream. Like I fuck with Cream,
right?
Like I was, I don't have, you know, I've been very clear in what I didn't like, but I love Cream.
I liked it. I didn't like it.
Nigga, like, hey, back that goddamn thunder truck out the way. Get that thunder truck. Get out the slot. Now bag Cream on in.
Learn to appreciate and like, because later in life. It's like, you know, you catch up with him 5 years later. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Like the Batman album.
Yeah.
You know, something like that. Oh, they go out clock.
That The countdown is getting real now.
Yeah.
I was like that with Rainbow Children, Jason. It wasn't Prince, and that's something that we have
that's
to think
another.
about. I wasn't ready to receive Rainbow Children yet, but then a few years later, when I was about 4 years later in a different space in my life, and I would have to drive about 40 minutes to work, and I would just listen to that album every day, and I was like, wow. He was always ahead of us, you know,
Always.
and we had to catch up to where he was, and not just creatively and as a visionary, but you know, the intergenerationality of this weekend and seeing people, someone, I think it was Sarah, I can't remember, said she wasn't born when this album came out. And so having Zers, Xers, millennials and boomers, and thinking Prince was really a boomer. So he was ahead of me in his life experience, and the Rainbow Children spoke to me so differently, and thinking about that era of his life and how he, you know, was in a space where he lost both of his parents in a year. And it would be less than a decade later where I would lose both of my parents within 2 months of each other, and understanding these transitions that take place. And so going back to D'Angelo's excellent essay, he gave us so many lessons, so many things to unpack and listen to. And he was laying out a path for us to understand our humanity and the human experience and things that we were going to experience. And his creativity allowed him to express it. So I was, you know, disappointed when Andre 3000 was like, oh, I'm 48. It's nothing for me to really write about. What am I going to talk about? You know, having to get my eyes checked or a colonoscopy. But I thought, you're a writer and an artist, and why can't you talk about the change that's happening in your life, you know? And Prince did that. Prince, we went on his spiritual journeys, his romantic journeys. You knew, like when I heard Fury, I was like, it's a divorce coming. You know, like there were just things you knew were happening in his life. And so when people say, oh, he was so private, he didn't talk, it's all in his music. You know, it really is. So I just wanted to add that in as we get ready for the countdown here to get put out in the street.
Well, it's 1999 right now.
What did you, Nicolay, especially, what do you think about this performance of 1999?
I loved it. Like, I really, like, there's a couple of them kind of between the Diamonds and Pearls tour and the Act 2 tour. Mm-hmm. I really like the sort of frantic pace of it. Like, it was much more kind of big bandy. But it was the only way to do it, I think, after it was done the way it was done during 1999 and Purple Rain. So I really love the drums and the guitars on it. It's just it's just much more up tempo with the horns and everything, and they would intersperse it with America and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And it was powerful. There's a BBC radio recording, I think it's 93, where they sort of, I feel like that's the quintessential version of it. But yeah, it's so much faster, and it's so much like the real horns just add a exuberance to it that the original version didn't really have. It's much colder because of the language that was used at the time. But this is kind of like a big band sort of, like, it's a little Vegas-y, I can't lie, you know, it's a little Vegas-y. But it's but in the best way of the word, though, you know. And it really, I don't know, it's a gem. It's a gem. Like, I have no problems with it.
Hey, Seeley,
like, give me this on a loop and I won't ever hear Thunder again. I'm a happy man.
Oh, shit. You didn't like
had to
Thunder?
sneak that in there. Nah, man, I don't.
Thunder at the beginning of this?
No, bro.
That's why I was messing. That's why I was messing with him. He was like, hey, get that Thunder shit out of here now. Bad cream on in. Bad cream on into this spot. I'm reserving this spot for cream. I don't want Thunder here.
On this, Thunder was funkier than cream.
Yeah, sorry, not sorry, guys.
Movable. It's not happening. The detail. Someone talked about the detailing on the suit. Like, this whole ensemble right here is just too much. It's like Splendid. The do-rag and the top, and Prince is probably, as a man, the greatest influence on my own personal style. Like, his attention to detail as a man with the way he dressed was just impeccable. Like, the buttons and just all of it is just so impeccable. And someone talked about this earlier, that what are we up to? Is this the third wardrobe change in this show in the club?
At least
one more to come. It's just, it's amazing.
And the close-ups are so incredible. Like, between his face and his hands, like when he's playing guitar, like the close-ups. And I think that's the beauty of this show being a little bit later in time, because the quality of it is much better than, let's say, like a Purple Rain show.
Right.
So the close-ups of his hands and of his it's really, really, really puts you right there, and the colors are vibrant and yeah, this is incredible. Like, I think to whatever degree a historical damn document. Like, and the Hornheads never got the memo, the dress code memo. I feel like they didn't have time to get the outfits together, because like, what are they wearing? Like, my man is wearing, like, he just came from the office.
Right.
They were like, we just
Bless their
trying to
hearts.
get notes right. They're like, look, nigga, like, we just trying to get these notes right.
Right, we just trying to hit the notes. Right.
Right.
Yeah. They had to finish up them audits before they got to the club. Let me finish up these audits, get these audits in, and
Yeah, Prince was like, "Come as you are, guys. Just come as you are," and they did.
And make
You know,
it funky.
I
And
think
they
the
do.
capacity was maybe 1,000
Mhm.
in
Was
the Glam
it?
Slam,
Okay.
and you see you got people
Yeah.
over the stage on the balcony there. This was
Yeah, I
that.
remember.
Well, if y'all watching it, you know, above
Now,
the
I'm-
symbol,
Right.
above the symbol, he got it back there, but it's not lit. And that's one of those things you get mad at when you look back at the video. It's like, my damn symbol wasn't lit.
Right.
Why he even hang it? You know what I mean? If I hang it, I want it lit. You know, that type of thing.
now
But
I'm,
look,
I think
the boy got,
I
and he
think I'm
brought
a-
the blue piano and put it in the front. You know, like took
Mhm.
away some of the audience space
Okay.
so that he'd be able to jump on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. We about to make our way to the bar. Is it bar time? Yes. It's bar time.
This energy though, like, and the band is keeping up this pace. Look at Sunny T. I mean, they are just
Working,
Oh, shoot.
just
They-
working.
I mean, this band was so phenomenal. It's just, I'm really happy that people are realizing this. And that's why, you know, again, they've got to figure out some way to make some money off of having this available for a larger audience. I talked earlier about a colleague, he was an elder man, a sergeant in the army, and he said, yeah, that your boy, I was in a barber shop the other day and they were showing a video of him in Vegas, and I was really impressed about how he played all the different instruments, and he was really good. And I was thinking, yeah, I was like, Sergeant Gay would never go out and just get into Prince, but people who can buy a DVD or download it or whatever, a show like that, and have it just playing in the barber shop, it's that thing. Because when we talk about legacy, it's the future, it's impact. And that's what I love so much. I can't say enough for Kanisa and D'Angela's essays, because the expository essays are so great about documenting history and dates and achievements. But when we start talking about legacy, we're looking at the future and what's the impact and where are the seeds planted, and how is this art living with other people. And it has to go beyond this community. And a concert like this is both. It's history that's documented, but it's also legacy. I love the Melody Cool Light. I think I ended up falling a bit behind, but the Melody Cool Light as you're going down the stairs in the club. But yeah, I just think it's so important to have more people see this. This
Yeah.
is be seen by more people.
Because you don't get how great this
Him
band
on
is
top of
from
the
just
bar.
the album. You know what I mean? Like, this is really something that you have to see in order to fully grasp it.
Exactly.
Y'all
Let
want
me
to
ask
talk
you a
about the
question.
boy on the bar? Y'all don't never see Prince on the bar in the club. Y'all want to talk about that?
Yes, it's
Come
amazing.
on, that boy's singing on top of the bar, man. Looking back there and everything. He over there breaking the rules. He walking around the club singing. What
When
y'all
I
Hey.
saw
doing?
this, Jason, the
Silly, what you
first
see over
time,
there,
I
man?
didn't know
What
what
you
I.
see?
At this point, is absolute delirium. At this point, Jason, just the joy and exultation,
Yeah.
and it's just freestyle. Like, he is having so much fun. And I remember talking to D'Angela about seeing this the first time, and she said she just loves seeing Prince happy. You
I
know,
know.
there's so much joy here, and it's unbridled and well deserved. You know, and it's just he's worked. This man worked so hard. He gave us everything. And I remember, like, I just used to be like, I want Prince to be happy wherever he is on the planet, whatever he's doing. I want him to be happy. That would be my prayer for Prince. Like I pray for my family and then for Prince to be like, you know, Prince, I just hope you are happy. We're healthy and happy wherever you are, because he gave us, when you think about last December, did you give your all? He gave it all to us. And to see this exhilaration and the smiles and the laughter from this man in his bar, in his place, after he's conquered the world, to quote Michael B. yet again, like, I love this. I just absolutely love it. So yes, Jason, that's what I took away from the bar. Like, I just love that joy.
Thank you.
Well, I ain't gonna even lie to you. The first time I saw him hop up there, the first thought I had in my head was, hey man, get your ass down off the balance beam before you hurt something. Your ass is not supposed to be on the balance beam. Get down off the balance beam.
Tell them what a balance beam is.
You know, this is not the gymnastics.
Right.
And you are not dressed for it. Get your ass down off the balance beam before you hurt something. I'm surprised then somebody come take him down off. Now I agree with everything you just said. Now the joy, the wonder, it was wonderful. But I did. I mean, the first thing I thought was, don't hurt your damn self up there. Now, of course, looking back, we know he didn't hurt himself. But had I been in there that night, I'd have been like, don't hurt yourself, player. But you know, but it
was his club though. It was his club. He could do what he wants.
But look at Nicolay. You supposed to hire at least one person in your employ to keep you from hurting yourself. You need to have at least somebody on the payroll. Like, hey, back away from that, player. I don't need you to break nothing. So,
gonna say that to the boss.
No, you're right.
Not the Prince, right?
There you go. But I was. But it confirmed that he made, you know, James Brown, Michael Jackson, put him all up there. He may have been one of the most athletic performers of all time.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah. So
are we at the time check again?
Here we are at our Paisley crib at Get Off.
There we go.
Performance to Get Off.
What you think about Get Off, Nicolay?
You know how I feel about Get Off, man. That was the I feel everything centers around Get Off in this era. I don't know. For me personally, made a huge impact on me. Really love the live version because they just stretch it out already. Like, you know, it's not even been out a more than like what, half a year at that point, and they're just stretching it out like it's like a hit, which it was, of course, but just incredible. Yeah, I was always big on Get Off and Sexy MF in the same show. Like, are you kidding me?
Yes. I got an interesting Prince story. You just thought of it because the second time I met Prince, the first time I met him, I was going through a thing at Funk Jazz Cafe that I need to close the deal when I run into these people and say, hey, yeah, you want to be on Funk Jazz Cafe? Especially when they would come and say something to me. So I said, the next time I run into this guy, I'm going to tell him what I want to do. And I was going between, I was like, I'm going to have Prince come and do one song, lights off, and then boom, turn the lights on, Prince is there, right? I'm gonna have him play guitar for like 5 minutes and all this other stuff. So I go to tell him this, and this is at that infamous show at 11:50 after show in Atlanta. And I see Chuck D and Prince, right? I mean, Chuck D and Professor Griff. So I go and walk over to them, and I turn to my left and like, oh shit, it's Prince, right? And so Chuck says, yo, you remember my boy Jason from Funk Jazz Cafe? He was like, yeah, I remember Funk Jazz Cafe. What's up? And I was like, oh shit, you remember? I said, listen, this is what I want to do. I want to do a song with you, you know, where you're playing guitar for 5 minutes and the lights come on and it's you when the lead line hits. And he said, what song? I said, either Get Off or Controversy because of the way he was slapping Get Off. You know what I'm saying? Listen how it's slapping live. Live, it's slap. But as we know, Controversy was his thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then I said, well, Controversy. But listen to Get Off. Every time I hear Get Off, it reminds me like, damn, boy, I wanted to do Get Off with his ass. You know what I mean?
It's
incredible outfit, dude, with the yellow guitar. Like, come on, dude.
Come on. Yeah, it's awesome.
Come on, bro. Stop.
It's awesome.
Stop.
And how quickly, I just got to give a shout out to how quickly he changed outfits. I mean, his energy to run to that bar, run back, dance, finish out, you know, the last song, change and come out here looking like he just rolled out of bed after 10 hours of sleep and play Get Off is just And he is wearing this yellow like no one has worn yellow in life. Like it is just, and with the guitar, the gold mic.
Yeah,
Is this the
stunning.
first we're seeing the gold mic? I can't remember. He's not to the gun mic yet, but I
Yeah.
don't remember seeing a gold mic before. I might not have paid attention to it, but Get Off, this, and again, to it being a hit, it was like number 6 on the black charts. I think it only went to number 22 on the white charts. But again, speaking to the diversity of Black musical tastes, I love that as the executives, and Jason Draper did a great job catching this and including this in his essay, the idea that the R&B people were like, oh, there's nothing R&B, and the pop people were like, oh, but he's pop, he's not R&B. That they're like, we need a Black radio song, and he's, as someone said, there's flute, guitar, there's so much on this song, and it's owing to Black taste that this was a Black hit, with all this stuff going on. The video, that's the only thing I really hated about this, is that they didn't include, I'm trying to represent the Get Off House style video with my outfit. But that was so powerful, because people don't know that, like, that was a #1 music video purchase. The video, it was like 15 weeks on the home video charts, and it was like number 6 for all home video purchases. And so here Prince was using this medium, inviting us into his home in a way we had never seen before. I love the photo of John L. of his father that's in the house. So we see his father again of the Special Olympics performance. He walks into that sound check with his father. Shout out to whoever pointed that out for the first time on the internet. I never noticed John L. walk in with him to that performance. So we were getting these glimpses of Prince behind the scenes with the Get Off home video. And I just, when I think of Diamonds and Pearls, the first song I think of, oddly, it isn't the title track, it is Get Off. I mean, Get Off was just the
All day.
All day, all day, all night, Nicola.
Hell yeah.
It's still jamming.
Yeah.
This is like,
This
yeah,
is one
this,
that the
this
babies
is
grow.
the highlight of the whole thing, man.
Yeah. And it's one of
3 days
go ahead.
off.
And it is one of the things I always say, that what gets missed about that MTV performance, that I hope this will bring back into light, is that after the guitar solo, they just go into a righteous groove.
Yeah.
And I just remember, my mother had been sick, she had been ill, so she was with me, and so she was with me. So that I wrote the little commentary article about my mom saw Prince's butt, right? And she was there that night. And so, but it was when they went into that groove, and at the end, here's my mom, who, at that point in her life claimed she had only been to church and work, which I knew that was a lie. I knew all the clubs she had gone to, but that was a whole nother, but by that time she had only gone to church and work. And here's a woman who had only gone into church and work, who was now doing this. I said, oh yeah, the groove is in the house. And I think that's one of the things that we have to discuss, not necessarily tonight, but I think that there's a notion that with everything Prince could do, with the fashion, with the dancing, and with all those different things, how much of that actually distracted from the music? How much of that actually worked to keep people from understanding that y'all are listening to, watching one of the tightest bands you'll ever see? Because I just that's what I always remember about Get Off, was I never saw them not hit it live.
Right.
Like if you go through, like we all got bootlegs of this tour. There's not one bootleg when they not on 10
Right.
on their song.
That's the
And
one.
it
you
is
wait
just
for.
yeah.
And it's another
It
one
is-
that could not exist without Rosie. Let's face it.
Right.
Exactly,
Oh, yeah.
exactly,
Like
exactly.
a real document of the time, of the moment.
Yes. When I mentioned the house work, because we love us some house up here in Chicago, and Steve Still Curley out of Chicago did the remix on this. My brother had stopped by unexpectedly yesterday, and I said something about the house version. He's like, yeah, he was like, man, that was tight. And the first thing he said, Nicolady, what you said was, everybody pump it like you want
Somebody.
somebody. And it's it's Rosie, like just
He
but
made
this
that.
performance, like I love this performance so much. Prince is killing it, yet he's still a band leader. He is in that tradition, like as I mentioned earlier in the chat, of Black band leaders. Like I can't really speak to white musicians. I'm thinking of some of the ones that I really like who are band leaders like this, that tradition of James Brown and George Clinton and Duke Ellington and Cab Calloway and just all these Black men who were Miles Davis, who were band leaders. So we are seeing them performing, and to see Lee's point about where their distractions, all of this is going on, but Prince doesn't miss anything. He's like, let me turn around, get these horns straight, and watch them, and let me conduct this band while I'm looking unbelievably delicious now with my back out in this outfit. And just my goodness, the confidence in his movements, his eyes, like there are times where I just get lost, like where I watch this and I just watch his eyes the whole night. And as Rhonda said earlier, there's a confidence here where he is in his life, and his movements show that, but he's directing this band.
Yeah.
It's totally different from the new tour, which was like a year before this, like a totally different, like he seemed like not very, like definitely not like this. Like this is joy. Like, and I don't, this was amazing to see.
Right.
I think it's finally reached the peak. You know what I mean? I think the new tour was kind of getting the idea together. And then when they all come together in terms of presentation, song order, production, and the mind-blowing parts that we like, I think.
I think that's perfect. I think that's a perfect way to put it, because what you have with the new tour and kind of with Graffiti Bridge is him figuring out, what am I going to be going into the 90s?
Yeah.
Right. I think with everything else that's happening with Graffiti Bridge, right? Because we all know that Graffiti Bridge was 3 movies that they tried to make into one. It was 3-4 projects that they tried to make into one. And I don't think people talk about that when we talk about how bad or how, what the movie is. And then the new tour is kind of like, okay, let me go get this European bag. I got to go get this European bag. I'm going to do these greatest hits because I'm bringing in this new band. So he's really thinking about, what am I going to be moving forward? And I think, as all 3 of you have aptly said, that it is with Diamonds and Pearls, and it's with this show tonight that he hits the apex of, oh, there it is. And when I say there it is, not like, that night, but it's all coming together so that he clearly understands this is the vision of the new me, with which I've been grappling for about 1.5 years.
Yes, and I think the essays do a good job of giving us that kind of behind the scenes. So when Levi's saying he wants to play guitar, but on the new tour, that was great to learn that Sonny was, opening with Mavis on select dates of that new tour. And Prince was like, give Sonny a tape of Tonight Show, give him this show. And he wanted Sonny to come in as guitar, but Levi wanted to play guitar. And so Sonny came in on bass. And I've never heard Sonny on guitar yet, and it's amazing because Prince says, he was my guitar hero, but I'm like, wow, well, if he was like this on bass, what was he doing on guitar? But these musicians are so multifaceted. So going back to this idea of vaudeville that Harold introduced yesterday from Malay with her brilliant self, it's like, this idea, not in the superficial idea of vaudeville, but in the space of these multi-talented people who could do many different things on stage to give us this kind of experience that's theatrical, and they're dancing, they're singing, there is rapping, they're working the tambourines. Like there's so much happening because everyone's so multi-talented in a way that we didn't see, especially not in the band that's talked about the most. But we're really seeing things come together. But like, as you said, Jason and Celie, he's getting to this. He's working it out in his head, and it all congeals and crystallizes in such a beautiful way. It crystallizes, I want to say, in such a beautiful way here. And I just love this. I love when the police, Mia pointed this out when she and Cabri and I were talking about this, how the police are Black, and you can tell they're just kind of mulling around. They don't want to make this brother.
They're not about to arrest Prince. Right. Ain't shit about to happen.
Right.
Damn thing about to happen. He owns the club. As a matter of fact, the owners know we have to hire police. So they're getting paid. They're gonna get a check tonight. They ain't about to do shit. He probably looking at them funny.
But I will say, when I was in Minneapolis for 777, the police weren't white, and they put us out of First Avenue. I was saying this yesterday. We were past curfew, and we weren't leaving. Prince, anyone who was there in the chat, the Prince came out on that stage and said, "Okay, y'all, now they shutting us down." The fire marshal came in, and for those of us from New York and Chicago, we were standing in the middle of the street like, what club closes at 2 a.m? We're like just getting going, and people are like, "Oh, it's curfew," and we're like, "What?" But Prince had to come back out and say, "Hey, y'all, go ahead, leave," because we were like, "Nah, we ready to go about 4 or 5 more hours." So I will say that they did put us out of First Avenue on that 777 show, but I love when he's like, "Hey, Levi, you better play, act like you know me." Like, I don't care that they up in here. We gonna finish this.
Let me say something about. Oh,
go ahead.
No, let me say something about this, because this was a beautiful piece. And what would have went with this? I think out of all of us, I was at that Jack the Rapper performance. And so, Celie, to what you were saying and what we were talking about, it building up, I saw him working things out at the Jack the Rapper performance in '91. That was really interesting, because he would throw the Ohio Players Skin Tight in there. Heaven Must Be Like This, the Ohio Players. It was a whole other thing. And I had a Prince hater with me. One of my guys was a Prince hater. Prince ran, and Cameron, I have to give Cameron some props, because he was the one who just mentioned this to me. Like, you didn't mention, that Jack the Rapper performance. And that was very special. And then that's why I was like, yeah, we do need to mention that, because it would have went well with this as a DVD component. The Jack the Rapper performance, he was trying out a whole bunch of songs that some of them he threw in the live performances, like Skin Tight and maybe a Heaven Must Be Like This, Ohio Players. But, like what you all were saying, that he was trying to really expand himself and see who he was. I think as a man at that age, at that time in his life, as well as him as Prince, knowing who he is as an artist going into the 90s and the change that would be about, like the sound has changed. But we're talking about a man who had no problem with changing his sound and look within 3 to 6 months. You know what I'm saying? But that Jack the Rapper one was special. It would have went real nice with this.
Do you know if there's I mean, we know Prince had footage of everything, but do you know where, if someone has that footage of the Jack the Rapper show, Jason?
I have photos of it that Cam been on me about for about 20, 30 years now. Maybe 30 years. And I have them. I have pictures. I have him on top of the piano playing upside down, because Prince jumped and slid across the piano, the top of the piano, and started. Y'all seen him when he play upside down, like on the nude tour. Right. But that's what he did here. So that's where he was trying to work these things out. You know what I'm saying? And it was beautiful. It was coming together. This show right here, it's like they go together, because it was in Glam Slam and Jack the Rapper was in a hotel ballroom. The symbol was on the ground. I was like, oh shit, he made a symbol. This was the first time we seen the symbol and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? What you want to say, Celie?
I was actually, was everybody credits either off or running off?
Yeah, and I just wanted to give some praise to the back of Prince's coat as he walked out.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. There you go.
He was
so folks, I know we're gonna talk a little bit more. I know Prop Duff's gonna come in, but there you have it, the play-by-play of the Glam Slam. And I just want to thank Professor Duff, Brother Turnbull, and Nicolay, and Brother Jason, and Professor Commons for allowing me to be silly. And I hope that y'all had as much fun as I had. And, we're going to see now what Professor Duff and Brother Turnbull want us to do.
All right. I just want to say one thing to Camila in particular, and then I'm going to take you guys off one at a time, because we have to manually take you guys off the stage, just FYI. But one of the things that was missing for me from the Super Deluxe edition was all of Silk Hurley's mixes of Clock the Jizz, the gangster house mix in particular. I really wanted a clean version of that. And so I was extremely disappointed. Well, first of all, Clock and the Jizz isn't even on here. No. But then the mixes, I thought that would have been really, really nice, because we got the mixes that I didn't want on the Sign of the Times set. Chuck Pettibone, I could do without, but I really wanted the Silk Hurley mixes. So I just knew that you would appreciate it, and Jason too. So
it was a huge miss with that. Even I can't really listen. I had to put my own Clock and the Jizz in my playlist because for Glam, it's like aborted. I'm like, wait a minute, where's Clock and the Jizz? Because I don't even think the Clock and the Jizz video was on YouTube, you know, and I just don't know why this video wasn't in there and why the song at least wasn't there, because I love that. And I always assumed that was Levi playing lead guitar on there, but then I saw someone say that no, that's actually Prince. And to whoever said that about Levi bringing that jazz guitar in, I love the same way Rosie's vocals influence Prince, the way you hear the jazzy guitar with Prince, he's starting to make a foray into that more with Levi in the band. So I just would have loved to have that be a part of this. And of course, from Chicago, the remix is D'Angelo. You already know.
I already know. It's been a long day. Thank you so much. It went by so fast.
It did. I was like, where
Yeah,
did
it
it
did.
go? Right.
It was crazy fast. So thank you to each and every one of you. But I got to give a special shout out to C. Lee for being clean.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Sharp as a tack, C. Lee.
Yes,
I
yes,
appreciate it.
yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Clean.
All right. Okay. So thank you so much, Nicolay. You know how much I appreciate you. I'm going to take you off the stage. Thank you so much, my triplet, for doing this. Double duty today. Thank you, C. Lee. As always, it wouldn't have been the same without you. I'm glad we were able to work it out because I was like, no. And Jason, you know I love you.
Good to see you, Jason.
Hey, Arthur. Good seeing you, brother.
Yes, sir.
I hope y'all had a great weekend. It was fun. Thank you again, D'Angelo, for inviting me. You are always the bomb in regards to keeping Prince's legacy alive and his spirit alive. That's what his spirit is. You know what I mean? You're keeping it alive. You too, Arthur. You guys are bringing the most intellectual people from around the world into a one setting, you know, for no reason at all. Funky for no reason, right? Well, the reason is Prince. But, you know, I as a producer, I want to thank you. I know the work that go into it for both of you and the time and the dedication. And Prince thanks you as well.
Oh, thank you so much. All right. So I'm going to remove you. All right. So we are at the end of our journey, Arthur.
Yes, and it really did go fast.
It was almost as fast as anything we've ever done. It's been pretty crazy. Thank you so much for being my co-host and my co-pilot.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes.
Thank you for inviting me and sharing your stage.
Thank you. So I just want to say a couple more things. Let me get my links together here. And I hope that you guys will join us next year. We're doing two things next year. One is, we'll start off with the one. Why do I not have this right? This information right? Oh my goodness, it's okay. So we're doing a COM30 symposium. It's going to be virtual in August, and you can register with the link that I just put on here, which is com30.substack.com. That's going to be August 10th and 11th. And you know me, we got to show, because it's all about Prince. And you know, I know I have some fellow collectors out there. I do this also to keep up with what I actually have and what I need to get, because sometimes I forget. And then the other thing that we're doing in the big symposium, because the COM one is going to be 2 days, but our 3-day symposium is called Erotic City 40.
Oh, yeah.
And that is going to be at NYU in Brooklyn in mid-April. And let me get the dates. It's going to be April 12th through 14th, a Friday through Sunday. So if you joined us for Triple Threat earlier this year, you basically know where you're going to be. And let's look at these albums. And the reason why I'm not calling it Purple Rain is because we're actually going to celebrate 4 albums.
4.
Yeah. And it's getting hard with one of them. It's a similar situation. No one wants to talk about one specific album. But it's not Purple Rain. Everybody wants to talk about Purple Rain. We're also going to talk about the Purple Rain film. We're also going to talk about one of the best debut albums ever, Glamorous Life. Is this oh yes, I got to pull this out.
Is that your original pressing that
no.
Coquette Vito gave you?
No, this is the blue vinyl.
Oh, you know, that's a pretty color for a vinyl. That was a pretty color.
Isn't this beautiful?
Yeah.
Oh my God. When I took this out, I almost cried. I was like, this is like one of my favorite vinyls ever. And I know some people is like, oh, she's just whatever. Anyway, and then one of the albums that doesn't get the recognition that it deserves is Apollonia 6's debut, which everybody should know I call Brenda 6 because
I was going to say, otherwise known as Brenda's album.
Which is why Brenda is on the back, I think, in my personal opinion. I don't know if you guys noticed that. So we're definitely going to celebrate this album. There's so many great songs on this. Like, I think the whole thing is fire, fire, fire. And this is the album everyone doesn't seem to be psyched about, which is The Times Ice Cream Castle. So we're going to talk about this one. And that's going to be happening in April, and April is going to be here in no time. Wait a minute. I love this, Tammy. Let me dust off my lingerie. We would love to have everyone come in with, whatever you want to wear. It sounds really, really good. Yes, Rhonda, A6, Apollonia 6. Yes. And go ahead. I feel like
it would be wonderful to see some Next Power Generation presentations.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna make that happen. You know it. Yeah,
that'd be fantastic.
That would be.
I'm working on something. I'm working on I think I told you. I'm working on a presentation, and I'm trying to. It's like, how do you talk about the most talked about project in Prince's career? So I'm working on something, and I will bring a flex.
Okay.
I will bring a flex that I've been keeping quiet for a while, because I see all that stuff that you and Dean pull out, and half these people on this symposium. So I got something.
Yes. So I want to make sure that we don't end without making sure we look at this one more time.
Yeah. Oh, and just last thing, I challenged Celie to show up in a pink suit in April.
Yes, I think he might take on that challenge.
And I think he could pull it off too.
Yes, I'm sure. And yes, artist flexes are real. So we were gathered here this weekend because of this incredible box set. Let me make myself full. We just want to look at all these songs that we got on the back. So we still need time to listen to these songs. So don't just put it in a corner. Don't put baby in a corner. You got that. So glad that you got it.
Yeah.
Make sure you watch. Watch Glam Slam as much as possible. Because one of the things that Camila said that I think is really important to stress, and I did say this, and one of the reasons why I love the Glam Slam show is that Prince is so happy, and I love seeing Prince happy. We all need some of that joy. I think we need some of that joy in the world right now. And so I think the Glam Slam show is a really great way to get that joy. If you need it, you can put it on at any time. And the holidays are coming up. And for those of you who have disposable income, it would be really great to buy these as gifts to give to people who might need either a little joy in their life or are really into music, but may not be into Prince's music. And I really do think that the Glam Slam show alone could convert a lot of people. So I hope that you'll share. And if you can't afford to do that, but maybe, again, have some watch parties so that you can introduce some new people to Prince, because I really do think that this show is the top of the top. I mean, obviously, I'm sure there's something else that can beat it, but just like not only the audio quality, but like Camila said, the video, like just it looks so darn good. Nicolay talked about like the close-ups and being able to see his hands and just like the detail that you can actually see. I really do think that this is like the cream on top is this Glam Slam Blu-ray. And I am so thankful to Paisley Park Enterprises for actually releasing this, because when I saw it at Celebration, I was just blown away. And I was like, oh my
Hmm.
God, I really wish, because I didn't know at the time that this was going to be released
Uh-huh.
as something that we could have. And I was like, please, Lord, please, Lord, please, Lord, release this, release this, release this. We need this. And sometimes the universe responds, and it's a beautiful thing. So I hope that you guys really enjoyed the live commentary of the DIY screening. It was so great to do this in community. So I have to give a mad shout out to Kanisa for even suggesting it. And before I leave, I actually need to do some thanks because I was about to forget to do that. And I need to figure out where I put my thanks because I think I know where it is. So I don't forget. So first and foremost, again, I would like to thank Paisley Park Enterprises, specifically Londell and Charles Spicer, for releasing this as a super deluxe edition. Obviously, I am beyond grateful for the opportunity to contribute to such a historical document. I'm still in shock. I actually don't talk about it a lot because it really doesn't feel like it's me in there, because it's just, I don't know, I can't explain it, but I am so appreciative for the opportunity. I also want to give some shout outs to the designers because I'm a designer by trade. So Alex Tinta was the designer who did the
It's a beautiful, beautiful art direction, beautiful box.
Beautiful box. And like I said, my favorite again is this cover in particular with the tent, because I thought I had pulled out. Oh, here we go. Because I'm going to go full screen real quick. Just so you can kind of compare and contrast. So this is the original. Whoops. And why is it? Let's see. Hold on. Here we go. This is the original. And then this is the super deluxe with the foil tint. Like roll it around. And actually, while we're rolling stuff around,
Oh boy.
You know what? No one mentioned this. This whole weekend, no one mentioned the hologram. So this is the one thing that's missing for me. I really wish that we could have gotten a reproduction of the hologram. That would have been really incredible. And then I love the inner sleeve. This is for the CD, and I actually enjoy having the way that the CDs go into the slot. Yeah, because like my least favorite release has been the Purple Rain Deluxe, because one of my CDs always falls out whenever I pick it up. So I really appreciate that level of detail. And and so also another thing that we didn't talk about really was the singles box set, which was designed by Mathieu Beton. So I want to give a shout out to him. Again, we got some full action on the back. That's super, super important. So I just got to give a very special shout out to the designers. So Alex Tinta and Mathieu Beton. Obviously, I want to thank you for co-hosting with me.
Again, thanks for the invite.
You don't have to do this, and you do, so I really appreciate it. I got to give mad thanks to Reverend for the incredible graphics.
The branding that he's done for your symposiums have been really, really creative, really good, really unique, and he's got a large body of work. So to not repeat much of the language that he's done before for your events is just really stellar. Excellent designer.
Yeah, but I think this time he's really good, but this was just like, I don't know, astronomical, like the level of detail. I love the pearls and the diamonds in the corner. The color is so rich. You got
what he did with the guitar.
Yes. And the typography, it's like really incredible. And then I have to give my core 4 minus Miles a very special thanks.
You're not gonna cut him slack at all.
So I have to give special thanks to Zaire, Anil, and Elliot for us coming together again for the 11th time, plus you joining us. We really appreciate that, Arthur. And then I also have to give very special thanks to Celie, Kanisa, Elliot, and Camila for all doing double duty. I think I got everybody. If I miss somebody, I'm just tired. I love you. And obviously, you know that I appreciate what you did. Also, I got to give mad thanks to Nicolay. I always love to hear from Nicolay. And so I was so happy that his schedule permitted him to be with us. And then I want to give a very special thank you to every single speaker. And I really want to highlight some speakers, but then I would have to talk about everybody, and we don't have time for that. But what we do have time is I have to give a very special shout out to the next power generation for obvious reasons. And I'm not going to tear up or anything. I'm just like so grateful that I know that the next power generation got this. I can rest easy. I can stop whenever I want now. Obviously, I'm not going to stop anytime soon, but I got to stop at some point. So I'm just so elated and excited that they're going to take over. And I also want to talk and give very special thanks to Prince for the music, the movies, the business acumen, the innovation, the entrepreneurship. I could go on and on and on and on. Prince is more than worthy for spending all this time. And I hope that you think that too. And last but not least, I want to thank Prince for the Chiquita yellow, because it's such a beautiful color. So I hope that everyone had a great time this weekend. I can't believe we got to go to work tomorrow. Like I said in the essay, it's, you know, I love it when we're in our purple bubble, in our purple alternate universe. It's really sad when we have to leave the purple bubble. So it's a little sad, and it's really hard to let go. So I hope that you guys enjoy being in the Chiquita yellow bubble, because I did. Would you like to say anything, Arthur, to take us home? Yes, and our nerdum. I love that, Tammy.
I think you said just about everything. I want to give a hand to your frames. Those are wonderful frames. Your glasses.
Thank you very much.
Really compliment your outfit. Shout out to my wife, Joy, who gives me up for a weekend.
Yes.
And I still had stuff to do.
Yeah.
But thanks everybody for hanging with us, for being as patient as you have been, the number of breaks, but still coming back, for contributing, particularly in the comments. I was saying it to be funny, but I'm dead serious. The comments are their own symposium all by themselves, with the kind of activity and conversation that goes on in them. We hope to see you, as many of you, in person in April, and all of you plus one, the one person that you bring.
Yeah, love that.
For Come 30 next August.
Yeah, I love that. And we're gonna I'm gonna leave with the purple bubble doesn't have to stop, because every Saturday at noon Eastern Standard Time, we do What Did Prince Do This Week? So if you know where my YouTube channel is, and you should, most of you, because most of you are on YouTube, you'll find all of the previous episodes for What Did Prince Do This Week. And I can't believe we're about to go into year 2 of What Did Prince Do This Week. So you can join us and continue the purple love. So thank you and good night.